This is the Washington Rules of Evidence at VR, originally effective April 2nd, 1970, including amendments received through the August 15th. And this is 2020, 2019, 2020, which is online. And the preface for the Washington State courtroom rules are illustrated online, which is Thomson Reuters and LRSB, which is the Washington State Bar Association, with the configuring on the preface publisher series, and also the research powered Thomson Reuters ProView app, and also the ebooks, which is online. Retrieving the lawyers and ProView books available discounts are on the 1-800-344-2509. This is Andy Miller at Sealbait Washington Bar Association. My system's been online since the incorporate the Rules of General Application for Rules GR 1967 amendments received through, and the classification systems on the Commission of Judicial Conduct, the Bench Bar Press Committee, the Attorney Advisor, State Time Standards, and Child Support. See the emblems all over at Andy Miller at the 7112 West Okanagan Plains. As you can see, that's on YouTube, Facebook, the parking lot entranceway where they came out the back entranceway into the human resources out that back, which is Amazon. Mr. Donald Trump is correct because he's in that's my room and my upstairs down room at the Red Lion. That's import, interport service, and also transport from Danport, Spokane International Airport, Moses Lake, Washington, also International Airport, Spokane, Fairchilds, which is cinema in Moses Lake, and also the Cavasser program, the training facility. That's the Mueller Administration Office. Mueller Administration Office is the Mueller Administration. That's Amy Mueller and Jay Mueller. And their checks and service, Mr. Donald Trump signed the checks for Boston Pizza Restaurant. He's a resident from Canada, and he also a resident in their service for the Child Services and DHS CPS office that comes into the Boston Pizza Restaurant because of the children that are abandoned. These services were adopted for the service because they came into what is the Federal Guidelines Riverside courtroom upstairs, downstairs, and also the mailboxes for the primary election and presidential election before Mr. Obama was president. The services for the child support services and accident services for their increments were across from the Lion King statue, which is the Chamber of Commerce and Administration Center, Patty Murray and Cantwell's office. There is a community gateway service and post, and that's the Washington Bar Association Public Defensive Council service, and the immediate services, and also the correspondent for the Crest Line, which is DHCPS, which is on Crest Line, is the DHCPS office connected to Kennewick CPS office here on Canal. And there's services for the Toyota company, the Tundra that's parked with the two siblings. That's a Vok Mumu, Donald Trump and Mumu Administration Office, the Platinum Sequoia. That's in the Red Line parking lot, which is license plate, VIN numbers, and increments on the rules of general application on process, where there's now foundation, rebar, also fiber optical and Benton PUD, and also the fire department for backup for the propane canister and increments for propane access, open access for the open existing lines. It goes all the way into the Amazon. As you can see, Donald Trump's right. Amazon, but nothing but crooks and crooked fools coming in my house or coming on my bed or knocking on my door or penetrating or sneaking up at the back way entrance. And Mr. Donald Trump got a beautiful weapon to protect himself in many ways, because as you can see and witness, these individuals, sick fools, lawyers, administration officer generals. He went to prison, by the way, this lawyer, bench bar press, because Vok Trump talking Roberta and Lola Hernandez, and also Sandy Strawn and Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney in their services, because the advisory case for seizing time standards. There's no alcohol allowed, there's no firearms allowed, and on the property, a discretionary on the report you see in the bond say, as you can see, is the bench bar press committee. They have the Washington State Principles of Statements and advisory case advisory proceeding standards and limits jurisdiction trial courts of Washington State. Before Obama was imprisoned in F unit, and that's A, B, C, D, E, F, Superior Court, and in the accident, Mr. Hatcher was indicted with the homicide discovery with the services in his service. He was suspended for, I believe, what was that, 7 to 12 years he was suspended, Mr. Hatcher, but this limited practice officers have a disciplinary archive system, and it's upstairs where the first entryway for Prosser, Washington, and Adams County. Adams County courtroom used to be on the outskirts of Franklin County. Now it's in 210 West Broadway, P.O. Box 187. Information that's been processed are still booted up on the left-hand side corner, all the way upstairs and always adjacent to the north side of this building. The optical wire, the propane line, existing lines, the water lines, and the water lines that are here are damaged, and the water leaks are by the bottom on the parking lot, or the water is coming out from the side. So those existing lines and water lines, and also the propane is connected to Othello, Washington, Cimaron 5I and C, are busted, and then it exploded lines are cracked, and reservoir and water lines from the OCHA farms, OCHA water line system, hydraulic, General Electric, and also connected to the Vesta Utilities and Benton PUD, and also the Richland City Hall ordinance are connected to a existing line. The advisory of the cast for the liquor containment for water shut off for liquor meltdown is connected to the irrigation lines and also hydraulic lines and no backup water lines. and a backed up liquor oil facility backed up with 3 different other backup turbine inject water lines for holding containment for liquor meltdown. So this Mr. Donald Trump, he noticed these things because he's so elaborate and affirmative in his action, not distracted anymore in much way in services. So this rules of filing and effective dates, errors in plot and way. It takes 50 copies of these rules, authorized and adopted and amended these courts. Supreme Court must be filed in the state administrative for the courts. New proposed rules and this sealed document that's still officers attacking me on the sidewalk, attacking me again at the base insurance company, and that's Jim Logan. He owns it. It's called Safeco. Long time ago in that service, all those buildings he let people use and on his land, and still in his land. So the services for the insurance company, it's called Pacific. So they changed the identity services as Mr. Fair Golden Sachs Services, Mr. at 1344 East Main Street. This document still on it will not change. They're playing with it, they're tampering with it, and permanently dealing with it and making things up. They're putting whiteout on it. They're going to the database recovery service, and Donald Trump and Mr. Bill Gates walked out and gave the community $30 million because this information on Facebook, YouTube, and this tasseling individual bind is fabricated. And the laptop we got here, just for the evidence, physical evidence, as you can see, which is on the caskets, the urns, double depth liners, concrete liners, the orchids, and also the mahogany, ogany, and also the uncorked green memorial. These morals of rules of professional conduct is not changed in a way. It's a sealed document. So as you can see, the rules of professional conduct is reflecting on Rule 7.3, direct contact with prospective clients. See, these seals documents that are on them, and their first and last name, and also, of course, their hardware, software program, and that window is paid once and it's yours forever. It says 7.3, direct contact with prospective clients. Lawyers also not directly through a third-party person, live telephone, or real electronic conduct soliciting professional employment from prospective client when sufficient motive for lawyers doing the lawyer's person gains unless the person is contacted as a lawyer or has family, close personal prior professional relation coming to the door, as you see. As you can see, the Amazon thing is, and they complain and say this and that about Amazon this, Amazon that, and as you can notice, that's 7 days a week. And their service is services here at Annie Miller at CO Bet 509-735-3591. Fax is 509-736-3066. In a swimming pool on the pass and go at the Queens Gate Gold's Gym, or over at the Gold's Gym on, of course, on 395 connected to Oregon State, or the Gold's Gym in Spokane, Washington, connected to Canada, Washington, or Idaho, or the borderlines of the skirts of the Kodiak trucking for services that they have to transport, import, export services for inspections. Since the lawyer in the system for referrals, as their plans of referrals, that's Kavanaugh's. It used to be Kavanaugh's called Red Lion. All those beds, assessments, hygiene services are not theirs, never will be. Same identity is the same, and the services, and also the First Stake Word, President Hinckley, and also the Catholic Cathedral in Spokane, Washington. All these array of services were already established and sealed when all the children went up to the courtroom and also across the street, and their services needing and dispensing, and also their services they're needing for armor, and also basketballs, footballs, law books, laptops, desktops, and furniture, which is Walker's Furniture, which is administration of Mr. Scumbag, and that's Phelps. Scumbag Phelps is convicted for drinking and driving, and he's on my material and my domain and my firewall at the university as services, and also microservices and Miss Michael, and the church administration and Catholic service, the Pope himself, that was executed along with Mr. President Hinckley's administration in prison for the services for the oil refinery indictments and services that's on our land and on our ranches. That's cattle, reserves, backlog information, and also the services commit. Mr. Daryl Johnson and Mr. Floyd, which is emblem, that's Bodacious Frost. He's the PBR, original owner of Plantation. That's the administration office in County Correctional Sheriff Posse Administration Office. Nurses Administration Office. Nurses and immediate surgeons are always seeing him because there's a bull on him, and they're pulling a bull off him. But the administration office still owns the PBR, and the first and the last name and the next of kin. And that abandoned child is named Jessica. She's raised an only child, and she has no brothers. She has no sisters. They're con artists, as you can see. And Mr. Donald Trump is sitting there reflecting all that. And he looks out the window, the back window, the front window, or any of the... He drives around in an armored SUV with bulletproof glass windows, and he just pulls up. But the Washington revision of the ANCRES are truly effective since information are concurred, and it's 7.3 direct communicating with Pacific clients. The sealed documentation only belong to them. They fabricate it and run off and throw the body, as you see, throw my body into a vehicle and make things up and make a situation more suffering consequence themselves when they pull up to the jail or the State Patrol office. And they call State Patrol Officer Andy Miller's office, administration office, got phone records on everything. The rules of 7.6 political and contribution to obtain government legal engagements and appropriated by judges. These are a lawyer of the law firm accepting government and legal engagement point by a judge. The lawyer or law firm makes political considerations of soliciting political and career purposes, obtaining being considered a type of legal engagements, because Felix Barela never filed bankruptcy. But all the increments on this, fighting tooth for nail and fighting for tooth and for nail, they seem that the impeachment they all say seems they lose every time. Every time, anywhere, anytime, anywhere, anytime, 7 days a week. Increments, as you say, as you can see, the comments on, there's a comment list on this rules of general application. They make things up. It says lawyers might have the fully political process include facilitating political considerations in office. Nevertheless, when lawyers saw it taking place. Apparently I'm not indigent and I'm at the services, and I'll have the receipts and transactions downloaded and submitted and put it on the laptop so they browse through it. And he is a dropout. That's Bill Gates. He's having sex with Roberta Barela, and also Mr. Bill Gates witnessing flying his helicopter to Bill Gates to confront Mr. Bill Gates about having sex with Roberta. So to the last day, as they said, political government consideration obtain government legal engagements and appropriation by judges. He's talking about the situation about the lawyer's right pursuing fully political processes, including soliciting political consideration, fiscal and other public offices. Nevertheless, when the lawyers make the soliciting political consideration in order of obtaining an engagement for legal work ordered by the government agencies, obtaining a point by the judges, and the public may legitimate questions of lawyers. Again, this is misleading witnesses, misleading clients and their representatives to disclosure, since this affidavit, he's checked, signed off for his hours done on the service there. And also downloaded, and that's of his utility, and also this office from the sheriff, and the sheriff says the Benton County Sheriff serves, and this service goes all the way to the 10. This goes back 10 governors here in Washington State. So how many seats, how many chairs of documents of liquidation and services of line lines, and the original campaign for the service, and this is the original document. This is worth billions, actually. This is worth billions, this document itself. Not millions, not a dollar, not the dollar store thing. It's worth billions right here. It's a convicted individual disguised as, what do you call it when they come up here? Pretty much. Bill Gates walked out, 300 million right there. And all the lawyers for that administrators came out from Mr. Donald Trump are in prison now. So they come to the table and chow hall and discretionary in a way and disguise themselves. You got these mass murders from Connaught, 20 to life, and they're coming here to almost get out of prison because they're maxing out 20 to life, and now they're getting out of prison and they're coming back here at 712 Okanagan Place. And they got this political consideration purpose on this rule application. It says political consideration for purpose and containing being considered. These are millionaire lifers. These are 20 to life, and they're maxing out, and they're billionaires, and they manufacture that they're millionaires, and they got 20 to life. So the political consideration, the purpose of obtaining being considered in government legal engagement appointed by these judges. They got litigation, they got appeal processing rooms, you got the Fed units and also the processing units, and they consider the legal engagement appointment lawyer of a law firm or have soliciting or consideration the purpose of determining examination circumstances and concerns occur. For example, the more consideration, agreement, and substantial relation to other consideration by lawyers or law firms made to the benefit of the official position. So Mr. McKinnon Law Firm addressing to public counsel in Spokane and the Post and the Administration Office and Coroner Services, and then also Simon's Mall. All those islands are $1,000. You rent all those islands. That's Chase Bank is an island, Starbucks is an island. Azteca got kicked out of here because they don't want any foreign relations service exporting and passing information increments. And the other direction, we'll pivot the building, have the door entries, and have a sushi Japanese import-export from the front door, not the back door, to the front door. And also the services they have for the Vista utility breakdown systems on the businesses and residents, and also the services they got. Since they've been busted and repaired, those are billions of feet repaired, and that's the natural gas propanes, and also the services connecting. So this political consideration for the purpose, because they donate money, millions, and their lifers, and their feds, and their American citizens, and then they have considerations, and they have their transaction receipts of services for fully acknowledging the corporation for their engagements and positioning influence government and legal engagements. They do this for a living. Live it, love it, and process it, and they are owning it, and they still own it. Legal engagement considered soliciting lawyers. Lawyer firm would support him for interference on the purpose of consideration was obtaining engagements, absence of communicating to others, passing information from others in any legal shape or form. As you can see, Mr. Donald Trump's a pretty very good witness, along with Vok and Imam Ganj and their services, and they can talk. And it ain't your document, and another will be a contract. That's pretty sad that some lawyers getting punked for his food in a prison facility, and then they protect him, piece him up, and they have these officers have to fabricate and make things up just like Yates. And then they come into real life and knowing that these IT technicians and their information on their services come here, instead of they say they own this and own that one, and doesn't have their first or last. Since this is Barela sections, this is the Benton County Law Library, satellite SATLLITE. And then a global position and satellites for the services for the cremator, and also the John Deere Evergreen implement called John Deere Moline, Illinois. They have a trajectory and lap services for the Bushnell from Wall Street, and information for liquidizing and processing, or walking on their I-bonds or claw bonds, or firm claw bonds, or any shape or form of their inheritance. They have a monetary gauge watch. Little interns, they have legal interns that do this for a living 7 days a week at this Microsoft company, and also the Wall Street company, which is 7 days a week. It's online phone records. That's Andy Miller at CO Benton, Washington, U.S. They have a effective of October 1st, 2020 and 2019, and also the October services. They have attorney working qualification, category cases, and standard associated with legal counsel would qualify to under standard and category cases. Specs of information, as they say, the inventories and services they have, the standard 4.3, a pallet representative counsel that's imposing, and also scoping and overlooking certain standards on 15.2.8. The certificate of compliance, criminal and juvenile offender cases. You have a juvenile record or any services, they work on your manifest apps, FBI, and SID number on every time you go for your test for brushing up or being suspended as a sheriff, police officer, U.S. Marshal. And you say, Mr. Taylor, you can see this is the 2 fuel cards right here on Mr. Taylor, Sheriff Taylor, and U.S. Marshal Taylor right here. This is the calling cards right here, 1 and 2. This is Twin Towers. This is Bill Gates, and that's Mr. Donald Trump. And that's 56,000 of transport, 50,000 dump trucks transport all this material out of here because they're satellite in an immense way and they perform. So you see the Connors sleeping and walking back to the back, going to the human resources, dirt bags. Death certificate and services were disguising themselves in the back way, and that was Hatcher. He has the appointment over in Yakima because Yakima and Bravo Military's Hernandez death certificate services went theirs because he is suspended for 7 to 12 years. And Mr. Keene and also the service and the backlog information was in their information for the solving all the murder cases that have been lowered or detained or confronted face to face, foot to foot, and also doorway to doorway, entranceway on my land. See the rules, appointment for masters and discovery masters, and the PF change that was built at Simmons Mall, they had no permission here in Kennewick. They had PF change across the street at the Riverside Spokane, they had no permission on them on that well as well. So discovery and services appointment of master discovery matters is rules of Superior Court, A through F, A, B, C, D, E, F. And that's Anthony Miller at CO Benton, Washington, U.S. Qualification for his master. And then his services at University of Washington, that's Bill Gates Administration Office, collecting all this information and info because of Nebraska, Mr. Jimmy Buffett. Mr. Jeffrey Buffett pushed a horse in the back of the brown Ford truck, or vehicle four-door. And then that's Roberta Bell, Lola Hernandez, Mr. Eugene F. Pratt, and also Mr. Senator McCain, and also Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney, and also Sandy Strong. Putting this horse in the back of a Ford in Nebraska, Wyoming, Casper, Wyoming, and also the administration, Colorado, Billings, Colorado, and also the services. Pushing a horse in the back seat. And this is Clydesdale, Finney, 21, whatever the case might be. It was a sibling Clydesdale, whatever owners of the Dairy Queen services and some Micros come from. They're just squeezing a horse in the back, and there's no way putting a horse in the back like that. But leaving the vehicle back in a lake area of Muzz Lake, and that's North Platte, Cozad, and the factory compound for military compound facility for guns, building equipment, shocks for tanks, and also Aviation One, Air Force One. Now it's called South Carolina Dreamliner, and then their service for Boeing, and that's Chip. And Chip can help satisfying himself to a satisfactory orgasm, and also Mr. Dylan Trump and Mr. Bill Gates, and Mr. Father Tom, Father Devin, Father Cepeda, and Father Richard, and his body and his dead body. He said he's dead, but he's walking down Richland on Highway 395, Mr. Dillon, because he's delirious at the time being, and nobody gave him his medication, and he didn't give him his food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So he's looking for Felix Barela on Richland on 395 in West Richland, because I built the post office in Richland. I built the post office in Richland, and also the banking services for Fred Meyer, because Roberta Barela is an employee of Fred Meyer's, and I had built the bank and install all the equipment in Fred Meyer's bank. Because Mr. Father Dylan, Father Richard, and their medication intake services, he's walking right down 395 making a scene, just like Miss Lola Hernandez jumping off the bridge, Cable and Blue Bridge, 1919, because they do not like black minorities and tribes, or white black minorities like Sean Logan, the mayor, which was escorted straight to Annie Miller's office, reflecting on the recollection reports, because all the fantasies and their services they had, their orgasms, they affecting having sex with staff members, and also in corporate having minor relations with criminal convicts that coming on the sidewalk into the yard, officers marked as murdered veterans. Mr. Governor only accepted as governor because he killed Felix Barela, and his 6 duration service, Mr. Dale Johnson, his services. He's nothing but a Green Beret fool, coward, that his red pickup 1974 pickup was smashed by the backhoe with the backhoe from Mueller Mystery, FBI Seattle Academy. And also the Green Berets, the Marines and services they have. Mr. Dale Johnson's son was pushed in the grave just like Elio Homer Eric Benson, into a hole where he had a gun. He was going to shoot him in the back head with his gun. Well, I'm sorry, rifle that he shot with the black minority Derek Cady. See, his administration office, Mr. Lola Hernandez, have Mr. Black minorities in services, Mr. Bradley, and he's in the United States Army, and he was lowered and killed too. So this Tri-City Herald is delivered to Lola Hernandez, Fabian Barela, and also Mr. Samuel Hernandez from Fresno County, Sir Fabian, and also Andy Biller, and Fabian Barela, and Roberta Barela, and also Lola Barela, and also Lola Hernandez, sorry, and John Hernandez in Fresno, California, with Samuel Hernandez, and they have no legs, no arms, no fingers to that moment to speak for. For every increment is paid in full for each limb that's replaced and pulled out from the socket. And in the administration, the illness insulin factor for IBP, which would pull the eyeballs, the heads, the skins, the leathers into the basement. Also, the eye would be Boise Cascade pulp mill and services for millions and billions for 70 cents for the dollar that they took from the community here in the city. And you're going to put a uniform on and then watch the Bar Association, and also the lawyer that went to prison. And he's getting punked as we speak. I don't blame Donald Trump one bit. One bit. Flying over to Bill Gates' house and just confronting him about everything. Takes a real man to, or how many men did it take to take Felix down? Or did it take how many men or how many elite forces take? Or the scarcity write it off. Mr. Yates is a very, very popular man in his much way, but contributing to inheriting his money in the service of him getting considered on the rules of general application of its an umbrella. So he says amendments added to the related facts or charges. Related facts or charges. Judiciary Council may amend formal complaints on any charges related to the matters and formal complaints of respondent lawyers. Conduct regards of pending proceedings. The respondent may, within 10 days of service amendments, objects amendments of motion. Hearing officers and officers in hearing considered motion under procedure provided for Rule 10.8. Other amendments of disciplinary council must obtain authorized from the chief hearing officer from amendments in those under Section A and Rule of 10.3c. Disciplinary councils may give respondents notice of respondents authorize them to amend the request amend considering under procedure providing by the Rule 10.8. The chief hearing officer, that constitutes a assigned hearing officer, may authorize amendments and require addition of facts, charges, subject, separate, and formal complaints may directly to the county to report the matter in review committee under Rule 5.7c. Now, decision of rule and motion under Section A and B, hearing officer or the chief officer, and grant deny the motion, whole part authorize amend when they freely given when justice so requires. So when you have your right to remain silent, anything for anything, but don't you have to have warrant for arrest or outstay warrant for arrest or cause a crime at the time being? Or you're on the sidewalk with all your hardware equipment and they can have every right to put a handcuff on you, throw you around, and call on the radio backup. Oh, we have when we have a Negro, black, African, and he's the most powerful man in the world. We can take him down, lower him, put him in a body bag, and put him up. But what happens when you see an exposed community to service like that when he didn't have no warrant shot? Standing warrants when he called 911 at the 210 West Broadway, P.O. Box 197. That's Mrs. Dixon, Superior Court. And the Dixon family do not like any black minorities, Jews, Gook, Chinks, or any preliminary service or any threats or con artist services or anybody shooting at them in any shape or way or form. Because they love to shut down the government. They would just love to show up and waltz up and buy things and go shop freely in their way of will, not being freed or be threatened or scared by any individual like Andy Miller himself. As you see, he's in a little cubbyhole hiding in his way because he's so scared of all these criminal convicts walking around like the skating ring in Richland where Seth Miller and Norma and Andy Miller YouTube-ing this guy with, what's up, I own the skate ring, I'll blow your head off, look at I got a gun right, I bash you, I'll shoot you. Look at him, he walks around here like he's nobody. Comes in here with his homeboys and gets beat down and then they drag him off. And is that all they got? That's just like Daryl Johnson. That's like Leonard Babcock. That's like Eric Benson. That is like all the black minorities in East Pasco, Washington, all these immigrant service people that walk around East Side. You let these people from Tent City and Seattle, you let these people in homeless services come here in Kennewick, Richland, Pasco, and walk the domain services. I just walked in the back of Human Resources, and I found criminal convicts in the back entranceway of the back of these containers and these services. And then I went over the back, I walked into a YouTube service, these guys walking in the back, getting in a bicycle or a different car, walking to the adjacent area, and they're gonna pick the car and vehicle up because they know they're criminal convicts that make things up. It gets better, it gets better. You got every right to make a phone call to your lawyer, and every right not to talk to nothing about anybody. Recording the voices. If they have a recording device, That isn't even perfect. You can just squeeze all that information in on their device and retrieve all the information and give it to Andy Miller, watch bar search. You know why? Because all those stripes, all those stars, all those vendettas, all those contributions of threats like the Ghost Gym, I'll kill you. Oh, you got witnesses? Oh, I love this. YouTube this and take snapshots and call 911 right now. You're gonna give your credit card and download laptop and get them browse through it. So, did you want some alcohol? You chug this whiskey bottle. What did you do to Felix Barela? Oh yeah, I did. Oh, what else? Here's some more alcohol. Here's some. We go to the 4th of July. We have a parade with Air Force One with the General, Mr. Ferris Wade, and just have all your homeboys show up. And what'd you do to me? Here's some more alcohol. Here's some more money. Now, what'd you say? Say to everybody what you did. Now, stipulating transfer of disability and active statuses, that's Social Security Office. Social Security Office has love manifest information. As you see, it's gauge, and then 8131 Clemson, and then you see that YouTube, Facebook, you see the location, residence area, and then you have a death toll service where you put a body bag and body interment in the back door. So you put that 1 and 1 together, that's 2. It says the 18.5 and active stats, and then remember this is 3 locations. Now it's called headquarters, and that's Seattle, Olympia, Washington. And then there's a Yankee bar, that's the Navy Department. Anytime you park a yacht, you got to tie it off. Anytime you dispatch, you call the Navy Department, Air Force One, you got to tie it off. Anytime you move it to a sibling and service like Canada to Spokane, which is Boston Pizza, people just like to make things up and fabricate YouTube and have this false testimony because there's alcohol, of course, there are kegs there, and there's pizza, and there's children. So they like to misuse and mislead individuals when you walk in the courtroom in Riverside, Spokane, which is the post office that's been paid in full. The primary election where they have all these children come in there, and then they do not like these black individual con artists. And as you see, there's white ones, there's some black ones, there's ones with afros, there's Mexican ones with afros, and then you notice they cut their hair now, they shave their head off, and then they walk into campus compound facilities and misuse and process, mislead, and intimidate others. And then there's such a way of squeezing you in a cremator or in a body bag in some kind of shape or form with a signature, when it's not even their document. And Donald Trump's very smart now, very intelligent, very smart. Mrs. Taylor, Miss Taylor, she's very intelligent now. It's story time at Columbia Library, story time. She's getting very, very smart now, See that squirrel I'm at Ridgeway Apartments, and that squirrel that came out of nowhere, and this individual that came with, these squirrels are very vicious, actually. If they bite you, they call it blood withdrawal systems, and they're very vicious. And the raccoons are very vicious, and also the coyotes are very vicious. And as you can see, I fear nothing. They just come out of nowhere and sitting there documenting things, downloading things, and writing, and affidavits showing up in jury box. You got these Black Panthers, you got bears, black bears, grizzly bears, Kodiak bears, you got baby Navy SEALs, literally albino seals, walruses, you got some whales, some Magadon, you got a real Magadon, and then you got, of course, the great white, and also some marlins, and you got some marlins, of course, and some squid, cracklins, just in a jury box, sitting there, just gawked, impressed, like shocked. I got a baby squirrel eating nuts, and I threw meat out there, some buffalo meat, and just sat there and then I threw it on the ground like shocked, like shocked. I've never seen a squirrel shocked in a way, shape, form. You're gonna die. You gotta eat this meat. I know you're squirrel eating the nut and all, but this is wintertime. You're gonna die. It's freezing. It's 40 below degrees. You're gonna negotiate and kick it with me. You can do what you want, but the thing is, you're gonna have to eat this buffalo meat, this venison. You're gonna have to eat it. You're gonna die. You're gonna die, you're gonna eat it. You're gonna eat it. I got you on YouTube now. Man, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful subject. Damages. Now, the applications for this admission for practice law is create coercion for admissions. Every person desired admitted to the bar, the state bar. The good moral character opposes requisition fitness practice law must qualify for the pass of bar examination except provided for those rules. Qualifications for bar examination. To qualification to sit the bar examination, a person that must present statutory proof of either. It must be around your neck at all times. That's around your neck at all times. Even somebody tries to pull it off your neck and you don't realize it. And when you look down, you got somebody just pulled something off my neck. And oh, you Stephen Felice? Are you a lawyer by chance? Are you the staff member? Was that your homeboy staff member individual? Is he having sex with you in some kind of way, shape, or form? Because he approached me in a wave of body, like inserting my body in a cremator in a body bag. I have this handcuff on my hand right here. See this handcuff here? I'm bleeding from this. I'm blood all over me. Is it possible that you can document this? That I need another driver's license, another duplicate. Because I got my CDL and my Social Security card, and I want to hire you as an individual service in the community as an individual for $3,000. I'll give you $3,000 to start. And with that, no, that's the application for admission for practice law. Actually, it's the graduation for the law school approved by the Board of Governors. And it follows the compliance law clerk program prescribed by these rules. The guardian from the United States Law School approved the Board of Governors two other application LLM degree of practice law defined these rules. Graduates from some universities of laws, of course, you have to build the law school. You got to put the desks, laptops. You got to do all the Barela book, all the Barela sections into the. You can't erase, delete anything. You got to put the Barela book on it, and the Washington Bar Association, the federal guidelines onto the shelf. Not sit there, fabricate, and make lies, and put a seal and attach things on it and make things up, because this information says completion of this law clerk program described from these rules and the graduation from these United States schools required the board governors together within the completions of the LOM. Now, that's the Pentagon area, which is these uniformed etiquette service on the front of the building. Then the irrigation lines, the water lines, domestic lines, the propane lines, the natural lines, and also the kilowatts connect to Vista Utility. You have to build the Vista Utility building and then build your law school. And then when you build your law, then your post office, and then your banks. And then you branch out on your global service, which is now, of course, the attached military service with, of course, the drones. They will track everything down on your FTC, your U.S. citizens versus communists, terrorists, which don't have UBI numbers or credit cards or residencies or siblings in the States because they're con artists. As you can see, Mr. Saddam Hussein, Mr. Allah King, the Saudi Arabian father, and he's in Pasco, Washington, and he's the only one alive out of Saddam Hussein and, of course, Adolf, and that's Gaddafi, and that's Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, and also the legitimate services of IS and Taliban members, and then it's Indian, Yakima Reservation, Colville, which is Yakima Reservation. You have these fugitives of justice in their service. As you can see, he's only allowed, he died of natural causes, Mr. Allah the King. Now, Salam Paz, mother and sibling and children now in their services. Now, as you can see, they stray away from the truth. So this is a mission of the practice of law, together with the current standing and justice, were common law in based in jurisdictions and agitative. And these are ag legal experiences in 3 to 5 years, of course. You got to do that for duration of time, because when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, 20, you got 3 to 5 years to beat down Hell's Angels, Gypsy Gore, Mongols, ISIS, Taliban members at any disgrace, cause, or shape and form. You give them their weapon to them, serve them their last meal to their mouth and their face, and you tell them what's going to happen before it even happens. You just let them drive around in their homeboy packs or whatever their service, and they show up on your land. You got 3 years to train on that, pulling yourself off the ground. So how many times you get attacked or beat down by these individuals, shape, way, and form, then when you're 21, you can have a guns permit. You can have a guns permit after all that. Now, graduation from the University of Law, outstanding in the United States degrees in law together with the completion of the LLM degree in practice law defined by the rules. Admissions to practice law together with a current good standing in jurisdiction where the common law of England bases jurisdictions and during continuous legal activity experience of at least 35 years. Immediate proceeding and filing of the application legal experience shall means experience either active practice of law as a teacher at the approved law school or the judge, court general, apologies in combination therefore, and the state, territory of the United States, in the District of Columbia. Now, if you want to walk out the back entranceway at the the Crosby building, after you start sewing using the Crosby Senior sewing machine, that's $10,000, the original one, the chip, for any shape, way, and form your format. That's $10,000, and also of course, the other $10,000 for the sewing machine itself. So you walk out, and that's Columbia, that's Safeway, and that's the retirement center for the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, and also most elite forces and SAS Toronto, and also their services for, of course, the police officers, immediate police, retired police, retired FBI, retired CIA agents that on Columbia, see, they sit there and watch these individuals suffer the consequences of Felix Barela. And my cookie, my fresh cookie, my cookie cooked for Felix Barela, my cookie, see, that's my cookie, my nuts, my pecan, my jabbly cheesecake, the jabbly cheesecake, macadamia nut. All squirrels love that one. All the millions of squirrels love it. And then they have the options for breakfast buffet, lunch buffet, and the barbecue walkout. And you always walk out and you can see emblems of the services for these services. And that is a graduation of University Law School right there. You walk the back entrance when you see the United States, the degrees and laws on the LLM degree, practice law defined with these rules. The admission is the practice of law together with a current good standing in jurisdiction where the common law of England with basis, and it is the common law of England, it's in the backyard. So the basis of jurisdiction and active legal experience in at least 35 years, immediate proceeding filing of the application. Active legal experience shall means experience either in active practice of law, teacher at the approved law school of judges, and the Court of General Appellate jurisdiction, in combination of four in the state or territory of the United States, or the District of Columbia, or in any jurisdiction where the common law of England base of its jurisdictions. Now, LLM degree at practice law means that the LLM program at the law school approved at the Board of Governors, minimum of 1,200 minutes, 1,800 200 minutes. So total instruction includes about 1,200 minutes instruction in domestic and United States law, which most include. So the backyard, that's all domestic. So you walk domestic line, propane line. After you go from the federal guideline with the federal courthouse right there, you can keep on walking. There's James Madison George Washington House. And the backyard is nooses, and there's not nooses, but there's a gurnus hernia where you can pull the chair or pull the where you pull the chute and it falls through it, and the head is pulled off the vertebrae of the back sometimes. Or sometimes they just kick into under, but you see sometimes they said it's haunted. But anyways, the dogs start barking anytime somebody comes around me. They start barking. The canines, the Rottweilers, the Chihuahuas, or any of those rodents, or porcupines sometimes coming out of nowhere, just stand by, sitting there posted up, waiting for you to do something stupid. You know what I'm saying? It's Simon's Mall, my property, Washington, it's a plantation, ridgeline. So they say it's haunted, but when the body starts hanging off, there's defecations where they poop and pee, and you have that smell odor, and it still exists. They say it's haunted, by the way. That smell and odor comes in the top of the rafters, and that odor of the body, the composing body of the whatever came out of the body, whatever it is, it's still, and they say it's haunted. So that post-dated service that they have, it says graduation. The active legal experience has experienced either in active practices. These are LLM degrees, practice of law, means of the LLM program. You have to have 1,800 and 200 or 1,200 minutes. The minimum of 280 minutes of the United States Constitution include principle of separation powers of federalism. The courtroom's right down the road. It's a minute away. And the backyard, there's a galley. It's called a galley. So there's this basic little path, and you're done with it right there. So minimum of 1,400 minutes of history, goals, structure, value, rules, response to the United States, legal profession and members. Minimum 14 member legal analyze, reasoning, legal research, problem solving, oral and written communication, admissions, emotional, lawyers, admitting, and that's the lattice, that's the lighting lattice that's on top of the ceiling of that George Washington, George Madison, Abraham Lincoln, all those presidents right there. And that's still there. And that mission of motion, that's lawyers admits, and that's Mr. Cannon is down the road. Mr. Cannon, of course, and his homeboys are down the road. So it's a small part of the area. And then others is the federal Atlas, and then there's the Tri-State Herald. The Tri-State, and you got these head emblems like the bison horns and the Cimaron Bridge. No more there, but because of all that havoc, Yakima, Washington, Colville, the oil company and the service that cartel service, the casino, they accept that. But anyways, they took all the horns down, and they got these heads, the emblems, the Tri-State Herald, all the heads of everybody. Can't miss it. Can't miss it. This has the State of District of Columbia required to sit for the bar examination, and the fire certificate and jurisdiction, certifying lawyers administering practice, therefore, and standing of the equivalent, and present satisfactory proof of active legal experience on at least 3 of 5 years may proceed. And quarter, the section the Board of Government may determine without approval of application of permission to sit bar examination for qualifying applicant until completion of the inquiry into the applicant character of fitness and an applicant and has been convicted of serious crimes, defined as ELC 7.1A2 or II, as ever be disbarred and presently suspended from practice. Now the forms of fields are applicant initial, execute all the file applicants and forms, matters within time limits, and may prescribe the Board Governor. So that's what's wrong with these adapters. These adapters slip right out, and they have wherever it's at. That's no good. So we're gonna have to have a backup plan. Oh, there it goes. There it is. Microsoft. Thank God for saying Microsoft, because you know what? When you do taxes and you forget to do taxes, it shows up. Please insert and put your fingerprint here, and it does your taxes automatically. You must have some building foundation, which is set in, and it's building a platform, and it does it automatically. And that's the good thing about that. So wherever you go with this matter, wherever somebody jumps you, tries killing you or asserting you, escape and by crawling away, like crawling from the fetus or fallopian tube of your, of course, your mama, which regurgitates all the food into your mouth as a child in your nest. It's always active. Always active in any way, shape, or form. Now this file that was supposed to be doing this or that, because it shows the face. Okay, I'm not supposed to be telling this to you, but it shows the face, the person, the location, and whereabouts. That's why I'm in a parking lot over there, because it's showing me a location. So it's on YouTube, Facebook. So we're gonna make sure everything's downloaded, so that tax and increments or whatever they took from that 70 cents to the dollar goes back into the account. And there's nothing they can do about that, because it's yours and it's your window. Pay for once and it's yours forever. See, that's why it flashes a beautiful picture of the person that has that device, and it's not their device or equipment, and it's post-dating the information and retrieving all the information all by itself. Beautiful. Ain't that beautiful? It's beautiful being a United States U.S. citizen, and especially in the increments of the downtime services you see the services they're suffering now. There's a appliance and service for that wash and bar service now. And that audible, as you can see, the audible was tells you who pushed the audible button, and tells you and shows you what location where the push off or on audible and the erasing information. See, that's plus about Microsoft. See, so when Bill Gates shows up at the door or into the Porsche or in Nebraska or any of the compounds, any facilities, needing money, needing underwear, needing a shower, needing a razor, needing some medication, some antibiotics, injection, a virus, or you want a cure, you're going to have to go through a process. And it says more options. And this more options is already declared, and it's showing all these locations. Now this man can run. This guy can swim. And this guy is this guy's 1,600 miles away. And how can you be 600 miles away and here and same time? So this system is pretty very elaborate in many ways and forms. I suggest the Microsoft service, which is his platform, is spreading the information that live virus, which is working. This is 7112 is not going to replace the course of possibilities over which the Audible and services that service declared services, and also your services that shows on your locations are always downloaded for the tax increments, which is your taxes. That's April. Your elections is March, of course. So the window is yours for life, and not asking for this or asking for that. As you can see, these mischief individuals, convicts, lowlifes, that somehow squeezed into the cracks of growing and prospering in this areas of domain, which is eradicating at this point. We're injecting this virus right now. Select your language, and that's English. English, E-N-G-L-S. That's English. I'm so sorry for. And here's your injection, sir. That's all it took. 1 minute and 40 seconds. You feel no pain, no discomfort at all. You'll feel no it's gonna feel like isotopes. It's gonna be like cancer. Actually, it's like having a heart attack, a stroke all over again. It's like dying. Actually, it's like dying, basically. It's like dying and waking up, and if you don't wake up, you can go to sleep. If you don't want to wake up, you can keep the way you want and sign your life away and just go visit who you want and drink as much alcohol and have your heyday. And what'd you do to Mr. Felix Barela? What'd you do? So you don't be walking into a doorway and depriving your service or betraying your Microsoft platform service in any way or form. As you can see, this is one way or another to get the gander of the goose. I mean, get the gander. You get that look like a wild squirrel or wild animal to give you that shot. That was like you got a snapshot. Like look at this. Everybody, this individual is like peeing on himself. Like. Now, the original language subtitles in those sections are English, and there's nothing but English. No, we're gonna have to down because 1099 or your tax forms and all the services that you have, the contract. It shows that your increments, that sufficiency of your agent, as you can say, or agent, or immediate foot, ground force, or air-to-air, or increments in any way, shape, or form, which the cattle company and IBP services provides that information for the Air Force, and that's the eyeball. And the eyeball peruse and provides services for footage, and now it's CD. Now it's VHS, CD, and their service, and this is your Microsoft window. It's paid one time. You don't have to set payments or none. That's ridiculous. All this money that Amazon, as Mr. Johnson, is he's alert now. He's realizing what these individuals want. You open the door, they say this, say that, and he's reading it, and he's very alert now. See, this information cannot be avoided in way, shape, way, form. Anyway, now the recording dates are documented, and that's, of course, 7 days a week, 5 days a week, that's 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the English is always tampered with in many situations. How does that happen? It won't happen ever again. Will it? They come in the refrigerator, the children come in the refrigerator, and they find hands, heads. Mama, look at this hand, it's in Felix's refrigerator, and he's not even here. What's he doing? Oh, yes. I know that guy. I remember he was in the courtroom. This is what we found in the refrigerator. It's head. That guy was harassing. He killed. He said he bragged about. He's at the PF Chang, said he bragged on what he did to him. Now, the boat race weekend, those corporations, you think a year, 5 years, 20 years, 40 years down the road, you give them some alcohol, and they say the stupidest things when they're influenced by alcohol. And they go to their mother's house or father's house and just figuring out why they're in a cell or why they're in the backseat of a vehicle, and finding out their blood reports or analysis report. The agencies, any agency, any hospital, any regulation report feeds on information on your blood work. And they say, 20, 40 years down the road, no, he went out of state. He's on vacation or something. Look what happened. This platform is phenomenal. By these rules. The Guardian from United States law. Voice analog system, voice recognition just brings out the information out regardless and shows the locations where information that's on private. With this monologue study service is speeding up the process. The computer works 50 times faster. Your computer will work 50 times faster, and also your information, your service centers will make 100 times faster, 10 times faster. And there's no way of getting out of a situation with them fabricating anything, shape, or way, or form anyway, because that 30 cents to the dollar, which is 70 cents. So that $70 for each dollar is a lot of money. And there's no way losing out of this retrieval platform, any shape, way, or form. Wonder why he ran as fast as he could out in the parking lot to the death certificate services and onto another vehicle and saying like he don't drive, and his homeboys and his witnesses. They took all that. Now, the information download, recording date, license, and also cash and certificate categories, and also the languages and citations and any services location pinpoints are located. Hit the key to the button, shows you all locations for that device and a snapshot of the individual with that device when it hit their device. Or platform, laptop, platform, servers, towers, and all his desktops. This equipment's moving quicker, faster. This is, I'd say, 100 times faster than the original. Deployed of launch. The first launch, very slow. First now launch is faster than the original. Now it's 2 times. Deployed 200 times of faster. Launch. First. And they don't even launch Now it's retrieving antivirus on him, and that's launching at him.
Very slow.
Now it
First
just
no
canceled.
launch.
Now it just canceled.
Session.
Now it just canceled their service because it's Microsoft now. And it's quicker.
Now it's 2 times. Deployed up launch.
There it goes.
First.
They just
And
launched
now
again.
launch.
So the increments on the information of a strongly make Microsoft regardless of its technician and technician's the first name, last name, and technician, whoever did it on the snapshot, and the person's downloading. Now that information is retrieval and it's locating and it's in. Now the active agent's in his face. It's working. It's working good.
It's over there past the jail. Big blue box. I put my handprint on the button.
There we go. You got basic or more options, and consider that there's no add-ons because that sealed document has never changed. See, the fabrication on that added report only judges only, and also you can see she's pretty upset. She's pretty upset because I'm in her face. I'm right here in the person in this. I've never seen a judge so upset in my life. So this recommend this beautiful hardware, government issue, military issued weapon to you in the shape and form of your classifications and all your testing. There's the duck permit, and the federal duck permit, and also the duck permit, and there's the bear permit, and there's the mountain lion, the cougar permit, and also the grizzly bear permit. But there's also a service that you have to contribute with the ski clay position. You got to ski play and shoot with a Browning shotgun with a sponsorship with the full automatic right gun, full automatic tear gas canister, and full automatic AR, and for a Bluebird U.S. Marine Corps grenade launcher. And you have to have at least 10,000 hours, even if you're Class A judge. Administration is suffering these consequences. You're going to have to do some overtime on the basic training format in the backyard of this compound facility. It says George Washington. And the increments it says, heads up, before you enable general access, see Classic Studio. And this Microsoft channel and services for this service has tools to need to keep creating the best experiences for uploading, creating for the clients and supervised service of the increment unlimited 24/7 days a week in services. See, that's working. It's just injected, and they're holding and containing and hoping the statistics for the Washington State increment service for the 1 million, 2 million increment comprise a joint to this death cause.
Yeah, they still have Superior Court down here?
Now we're going to have to download this other angle because this angle has multiple devices, ultimate devices. That means unlimited service, unlimited devices. And the snapshot on the administration for the snooper says as snooper. And we're going to put it on the wall of Annie Miller's office, and it says snooper. And he's wanted in much ways and forms. Now see what happens. This guy, he, she, or it, whatever he, she, it, or as I'm going to say is whatever that increment is, whatever that basic or more option is, because this video utilitarian is Intel. All the data information, video location, and also the category, original video language subtitles, the caption of certifications, also the English by the service English, of course. We're going to have to, and also the use of or live chat in the service. And this is all download. That's pretty nice. That's very accurate. 70 cents to the dollar. How many people would be chasing that guy out of here? How many people you think chase that guy out of here and chase him all the way into his whatever he ran from, or whatever hole he came from, or whatever wherever he came from? How many people think you're gonna get that guy and confront him? service for the download system, we're going to have to hit the location button. It's Microsoft, and this is beautiful service will be injected right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the virus has been activated. There's fabrication with typos information added on. As you can see, the information on here is made up. First and last, and pictures of the device of the person who are in the device. The fingerprint of the sensor when they put it on the device, when it's not even their sensor, it's showing. The virus is activated. We're going to push this picture on Annie Miller's wall right now. Here it goes. And it, 1, 2, 3, it's done. Now that's 10 times quicker than the first one submitted. And then here is your next victim, which is the signature, initial on the bottom, date, and also your swipe credit card and your account.
Fingerprints on the Zomatic installments and the services.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Here.
7, 8,
And
9,
Othello, Washington.
10. There it is. That means 10 devices in 10 seconds. And there's a snapshot. Now, this individual carrying this device, you are wanted in all 50 states and international territories and throughout the nation and the world. And this is posted on Annie Miller's window. Inside the building, inside the door, inside the building. Wanted. You're wanted for this enactments and services. We're going to have to type this out because all the information's messed up. And they added to it all the information, which is not true because I'm right here. In front of the administration, 19 Chief Justice and Administration Office, and also military staff, and they're pointing at this guy, holding this guy down, and pulling all the information out of his mouth, which is pepper spraying him in the mouth, and letting them notice that it's Felix's pepper spray, his tear gas, that it's his purchase of his transactions and accounts, and he's sitting there crying, making a scene, saying that he didn't do nothing wrong, and he was nothing but doing what he was told with his Class A uniform and his also his active military issuance, and it says police uniform or sheriff uniform. It seems like he has many uniforms on him, and this officer is saying he didn't do nothing wrong. But he's sitting there using his device, making things up in front of the judge, in front of everybody, saying that he owns everything and he runs corporate information. He's a testimony factual analyst. He's laying low in casket and he runs the whole town. This is unbelievable. We're gonna have to plug this in and download all this, type this all up, because this information was there and still there, and Microsoft program works. See, most of these guys, they come out of the Marine Corps and they say they're immune to this stuff, and they're not. They're not immune to the tear gas. They're not immune to the pepper spray. They're not immune, and you tase them, and they say they can't be tased, and they're immune to being tased, and then they can do tased, and they can't even pass their physicals, and they got this information here, and it's not a device. And I signed their information. Look, and this is Andy Miller at CO Benton, Washington, U.S.